Hey guys, welcome into the Starcastic Mark Studios as James and I were bobbing our heads to our theme music. Welcome to episode 2. I'm Ryan. To my left is Christian, and to my right is James, or flip-flop, however you look at it, whatever. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight with you guys. First off, Chris, James, how are you guys doing? Y'all doing okay tonight?
Great. I got a sore on my bottom lip and it's swollen and I really want to cut my lip off right now, but that's okay.
I likewise am doing great besides pains in my mouth, which is kind of weird. So
I guess I'm
that's
the
a
only...
weird thing to twin on, but
I
okay.
know, yeah.
And,
I guess I'm the only one that doesn't have pains in his...
You don't have a mouth
Lucky.
sore. What an idiot.
What a loser. Does my teeth count? My teeth kind of
No.
hurt.
Nope.
No?
No.
Even though
Doesn't
I,
count.
Flesh.
root canal or
That's
anything
different.
like that?
Nope.
No?
It's got to be man meat.
It's got to be like those little white circles on the inside of your lips or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just weird. Okay. What a weird thing to talk about to start off with. Anyways, guys, thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor for our episode. We really appreciate them being our sponsor. And please go and use that promo code THPN next time you are there.
The official sports book of mouth sores. Or so I've heard.
So we've heard. Maybe it's just according to Chris. Just right this second thought of that. Nah. He didn't think of that just now. But
I don't make stuff up.
anyways,
Never.
guys. Before we get into anything else here this evening, I want to get into a couple of Dallas Stars news. Some cool things going on around the world when it comes to Dallas Stars players. When it comes to Mr. Wyatt Johnson, Maverick Bork, and Logan Stankoven, they're all still in their respective leagues playoffs right now. So our top three prospects are still getting it done in the playoffs, getting some experience for us. Hopefully that translates to playoff success later on in the NHL. We'll get to those guys in another episode, but I did want to mention that off the top. And we do want to send out a congratulations to Team Finland, who had Mr. Esa Lindell and Mr. Mira Heiskanen getting the gold medal at the IIHF World Championships. And they actually won it in front of their home crowd in Finland. So a really cool thing there. Did you guys get a chance to look at the highlights or anything like that for the World Championships?
Nope.
Yep.
No, I knew they were going on though.
I did get to watch half of the second period and the third period. So I did get to watch that. And I actually got to watch all of the bronze medal game where the United States got thrashed and trounced. And so they ended up getting fourth. But, whatever. So anyways, congratulations to them. And again, I hope that translates to more playoff success for our team as we go on. But I do want to end our Dallas Stars portion of the podcast with one other thing. And we want to send out a congratulations to Mr. Jason Spezza, who just a couple of days ago announced his retirement from the NHL. And he has joined the Toronto Maple Leafs front office as a special advisor to general manager Kyle Dubas. So that's basically, he's trying to find a job somewhere within the NHL. And he's going to be doing a little bit of everything, whether that's, player development or, maybe assistant general manager or, whatever.
Yeah.
So
he's going to figure it out.
He's going to figure it out. So can you guys talk about some of your favorite moments about Jason Spezza or what he meant to the Dallas Stars organization when he was here? You got any words to say about Jason Spezza?
Well, he was the biggest trade that Nil made other than Sagan, really, I think. So I remember the day the trade happened, I was like, well, that's it. We're contenders. And really, we were. I mean, we won the West with him. So it was cool to have him. Just wish he had more playoff success.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I regret out of anything out of his career. And I'm sure he's the same way. I mean, he's got many years to try and get it as a executive or player development coach or whatever. But it really does suck that he doesn't get it as a player. And that's why you look back at some of these, these opportunities like 2 years ago for the Stars when they were in the bubble. And, was that Jamie Benn's only chance to solidify himself as one of the Dallas Stars greats? What about Tyler Seguin, trying to get his second cup? What about Hudovan? Maybe was that Hudovan's last chance, which right now it kind of looks like it. But that's the one thing I regret about Jason Spezza's career is the fact that he was not able to win a Stanley Cup. And I hope he gets it as a general manager. And I think eventually he will. He's a very smart guy. He's very well liked around the league. To come to a Dallas Stars organization, you really have to be of high moral character. It's not like they go after just about anybody. They expect, very, very high moral fiber when you're the Dallas Stars. And so I'm glad that he was a part of this organization, and I just wish him luck moving forward.
I seem to remember a specific star that did not have very high moral character.
Okay, in the Dim Nil era. Can we say that at least?
Sure.
Sean Avery? Is that who you're thinking of?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Sean
Mike.
Avery. Sorry. I was listening to that on the way home with Sam and Maggie.
You were listening to that with your children? I can't imagine.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, lots of things still going on around the NHL. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into the NHL playoffs. So into the third round, into the conference finals, we have the Eastern Conference Finals, which are the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who would have thought that the Tampa Bay Lightning would make it there? And then in the Western Conference, we have the Colorado Avalanche, and we also have the Edmonton Oilers. So if you had to pick out of those four, you have to pick one team as the surprise team to be in the Final Four. Which team would you pick and why?
The surprise team?
The surprise team out of the four.
I would pick Edmonton because we've said that they're due for a while, but really they still don't have a defense, and we've seen the Mike Smith highlights. So it is truly McDavid and Draisaitl just outscoring everything.
Yeah.
And they're doing it. So the NHL said that they want more goals. We're here. They did it.
Seriously, what was the score of last night's game? The Western Conference? It was 8-6. Yeah, 8-6. And then tonight, the last I saw, it was 6-2 Rangers.
Yeah, that's what it ended as.
That's where it ended as. So that's a big surprise there. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit too. But I find it. Well, actually, James, who's your surprise team? Is your surprise team the Oilers as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's just no one expected them to go into the series, into the playoffs, and just keep scoring like they were in the regular season. I mean, that hasn't happened for them since they've had McDavid and Draisaitl. And this year they were able, they always talk about it when they make it to the playoffs too. They're like, well, if McDavid and Draisaitl just scored at the same rate that they were in the regular season, then we would win every year, right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
But it's actually happening this year in every single game, and they haven't slowed down yet at all. It's
and
insane.
How much can we attribute that to the way that the playoffs are being called this year? I mean, they're obviously, this playoffs is the NHL turning a page saying we're going to call it the same way. Well, the first round was not the same way, but now it seems kind of mellowed out. We're going to call it the same way as we do in the regular season. They're going to call penalties, and they're still doing it. So is that a big factor to it? Because I feel like it has to be.
I don't really think it's being called differently. I think it's just the NHL has changed. They've changed the rules a little bit to make goal scoring more accessible, to make things more exciting, apparently. I'll get into that in here in a second. But I mean, we've seen that with the kind of scores that we've seen this year. I mean, we've seen 11-2 games. We've seen 8-6 in game one in the Western Conference Final. And in the semis with the Calgary Flames and the Oilers, we saw, what was it, 9-6, I think?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Edmonton's allowed 17 goals in the last two game ones. Yep. I don't think that many goals were scored in our series.
No, yeah, that was more than either team scored. But together, combined, our series scored 31 goals total. So
Wow.
That's still halfway there, though. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And it was a 7-game series on top of that. So in 2 games,
Yeah.
the amount of goals that were, it's just stupid. So anyways, I did want to point this out because I was watching the Edmonton Calgary game 1 of the semis, and I wasn't enjoying it, if that makes any sense. And everyone's like, "Oh, what a fantastic game that was! Oh, the goal scoring!" And I was just like, "Okay, first off, great. There's a lot of goals, whatever." But the thing that was bothering me is that both the goalies absolutely sucked, and it wasn't exciting. It wasn't exciting to me because like especially for like Mike Smith, he let 3 goals in a row on the glove side in the exact same spot. And I'm just like, that's not exciting. Exciting to me would be like, okay, if there's a bunch of crazy moves and dangles and great passes, tape to tape across the zone or whatever, I would enjoy that. But I didn't have fun with either with that specific game. And this leads me to think about this is, am I just like the black sheep in all this, the ugly duckling, and the fact that I hate these high scoring games?
Yes.
Is it so it is just me then, Chris?
I mean, even if it's bad hockey, like Razor says it all the time, bad hockey's fun hockey. It's still fun to watch. I mean, obviously,
I didn't like it.
I fully agree with you that the goaltending was not great, and it's always fun to watch a great goaltending duel. But it's kind of the same way in baseball. Like 2 aces going at each other for a baseball game, that's awesome to watch for one game. But for one game, you don't want to see complete lockdown defense all the time in the NHL. That's what the 90s were, and people did not like that. So I think the high scoring games are still exciting because obviously, like, even in game 1 of this last game, the Avs scored 3 straight, and you still know that they're not like blowing out of the water yet. Like the Oilers can score that many just as fast. So it's still super exciting. You're just an old timer and you watch Stars hockey. As soon as the Stars get a
maybe
new
that's
coach
what it
and
is.
our new players start scoring goals, you're gonna be like, man, this goal scoring's crazy. I love it.
And
real quick. Go ahead,
I'm
James. Go ahead,
sure
James.
that's how it is for me too, kind of, because I don't like the high goal scoring a lot either. I don't necessarily like dislike it like Ryan does, but it like frustrates me when I see Connor McDavid wide open in front of the net. Like no one's defending him. You can't do that. You know he's going to score that every single time. That's what frustrates me. It's leaving people wide open right in front of your net. Those goals are so annoying. Sorry.
See, that's not what even annoys me. What annoys me is, the quality of the shots weren't even that great in that game. I mean,
Yeah,
Hyman scored 2 goals, and both of the shots were really crappy, like absolutely crappy. It was not fun at all.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
It's also because of like scrambles and they're on the rush as well, though, and that just comes from not playing defense at all. That's not just bad defense; that's not playing defense.
All right, and that's fair to say too. So,
and because of that, that's probably why the Eastern Conference team is going to beat whoever comes out of the West, because the Rangers and the Lightning still know how to play defense. Their first game wouldn't really tell you that because there was a lot of goals still, but historically, at least, they can win low scoring games.
Well, and I want to make a very, very deep contrast between the goaltending between the 2 series. Okay. So in one series in the West, your starting goalies, apparently right now, that may change for game 2, is Mike Smith and Darcy Kemper, who have both not been very good over the course of as of recent over the course of the playoffs. And then on the other side, you've got the best goalie of the season in Igor Shesterkin with the New York Rangers. And then you have the best goalie in the league, not arguably, he is the best. No, the past 5 to 6 years, in my opinion. Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
so it's a stark contrast. I mean, complete different contrast. It's amazing the difference between the series.
Yeah.
And I mean, y'all go ahead and talk about that for a second, because I think that's noteworthy to talk
Yeah.
about.
So no matter who wins either of these series, it's going to be unstoppable force versus immovable object. That's always a
Yep.
fun storyline.
And
Yep.
that's it's just insane how like all of it like kind of fleshed out too, because there were still some high scoring teams in the East as well, and there's still crazy defensive teams in the West. Just both the high scoring teams in the West just kept scoring, and the low scoring teams in the East just kept saving.
Which
So
calling Lightning a low scoring team is kind of crazy too, though. Honestly.
yeah, I mean they're still scoring a lot, but they're just not scoring as much as the Avalanche and the
Understood.
Oilers. Those are just crazy.
In the context, you are correct.
So get this, because I thought this was extremely telling. But before tonight's game in Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Final, who do you think would be leading the Tampa Bay Lightning in goals? Who would you think?
Kucherov. Because I know
Kucherov.
Point got hurt in Game 7.
Stamkos.
And back in round 1, or Stamkos, right? Okay. Now Stamkos is currently tied. The leader of the Tampa Bay Lightning in goals before tonight's game was Ross Colton.
Wow.
Ross Colton. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ross Colton was the guy who scored the golden goal, who got the goal in the last Stanley Cup final for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So he's kind of taken that third center role from Barclay Goodrow when that whole third line got shipped out because they couldn't afford him anymore. But I mean, I thought that was really interesting in that series when it comes to Eastern Conference. But let me get y'all's thoughts on this, because we talked about Chris. What did you say? Immovable force versus
unstoppable force versus
unstoppable
an immovable object.
So
it's
which
the saying, Ryan.
Right. So, well, which one do you think wins? Which one do you think wins?
Neither. They're both
gonna
lose.
Is it going to be the Western Conference with their crazy, just out of control goal scoring? Or is it going to be the balanced team in Tampa Bay? Or is it going to be the more defensive team in the New York Rangers? Out of those 4 teams, who do you think wins?
It's going to be one of the Eastern Conference teams, and it's going to be only because of goaltending.
I hope not.
I said that in the beginning of the playoffs. I'm not going to give up on it until one of these teams prove me wrong. This has been true for the past 20 years, all the way back to when the Stars won with Belfour. If you have the best goalie and he's playing the best, you're probably going to win. So I'm still going to bank on the goalies.
I really hope not, because honestly, I am still, even with the Lightning losing tonight, I still favor the Lightning pretty hard in this series. And I do not want to see the Lightning three-peat. I don't want to see
make me mad. Yeah.
Me neither.
You know what? I hope that I'm going to steal your one. I forgot who said it. I'm going to steal one of y'all's thunder. I hope that Tampa Bay makes it. They win their conference final, and then that they lose in the Stanley Cup final, because it will forever be known as the Corey Perry curse.
It's the Corey Perry curse.
Nobody signed Corey Perry if you want to win the cup. Can you imagine 3 years in a row?
That is a story and a half.
It's the reverse dynasty of Patrick Maroon, if that makes any sense. Patrick Maroon's won 3 cups in a row with 2 different teams. Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious. Oh man. But let's go ahead and let's predict who we think is going to win each series and why. Let's start with the West.
I know my bracket's shot.
Yeah, my bracket's shot.
Out of the top 4, how many do y'all have?
Mine's better than y'all.
I think I had the Avs. That's all I had.
I have the Lightning.
Pull it up. I think I have 2.
It's so awful. My bracket's so garbage.
Oh wait, no. I had the Lightning too. I had the Lightning as well, but I did have the Hurricanes.
I don't think you did, Ryan. I think you put the Panthers.
Really?
I think you're a liar.
I don't think I put
you're
the
a
Panthers.
liar.
Yeah, but
I think you're gonna have to check now.
Yeah, I am gonna have to go check.
Because I think you are mistaken there.
Yeah, well, Anyways, who wins in the Western Conference? James, you go first while Chris looks up my bracket and tells me how wrong I was.
You know, we saw the game one. It's the same game one as the series in Calgary. Oilers take it. Sure, why not? It's the same game. You know, it's one goal off. You know, not that big of a difference. It's just going to take the Oilers 6 games instead of 5.
Well, and not to mention that we saw all 4 goalies in game 1 from both teams.
Yeah, both teams.
So we saw all 4 goalies. Because Darcy Kemper got hurt, and he's going to stay hurt. Apparently.
Yeah.
So it's Franco's
a
net.
big thing too.
Yeah,
Kemper,
so it's Fran. Yeah.
Even though Kemper wasn't playing good, he can be a great goaltender at times, and that's going to hurt them a lot.
Well, and they knew that coming into this. When they got him, they knew that he was completely injury prone. So I don't know why they went out and got him, and they paid a steep price for him from Arizona.
Especially when their problems before have been goaltenders getting hurt in the playoffs. I mean, that's what they blamed it on when the Stars beat them in 2020.
Well, it really was.
They were on like their third string goaltender, right?
Michael Hutchinson. Yep. So, and the other thing is about this series is it's so hard because the Avalanche finally get over the second round hump that they've been facing for the past couple of seasons. But then on the other side, you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I mean, how can you go against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? And you know, in the
we lost them.
Rip. Okay. Well, I'll tell you how you go against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They haven't won in the playoffs until this season. So if you go by the laws of nature, which you have to be proven wrong first,
Ryan,
they're not gonna win. Hey, look, it's Ryan.
Oh, he's back.
Explain why your point is not foolish.
About what?
Going against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Because they haven't won anything.
Okay,
like this is the best they've done.
That's what I'm saying is I don't think that Connor McDavid is going to be denied at this point. I really just don't see how he's going to be denied. And he's not even their highest goal scoring forward right now. It's Draisaitl. It's stupid.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
It's not true, Ryan.
You big
fat
liar. You're lying to the people.
You're lying to the people, David is the leader again. He has 29 points.
Really? Okay,
yep.
So I was wrong.
You're wrong. You didn't look at the last game points.
Either way, you know, I just don't see how he's going to be denied.
Yeah. I mean, it really feels like he is willing Leon Draisaitl to score goals still. I mean, people are watching Draisaitl play.
It's Evander Kane too.
Yeah, it's not Evander Kane right now.
but like Draisaitl is 100% hurt right now. Like unbelievably hurt right now. He is not skating fast. He's getting beat on every foot battle, and he's still scoring goals.
Foot battle. We call those races.
Races, whatever. Foot races. Same difference. Whatever. I mean, he's willing his team to score goals.
So I think it's going to take 6 games, and I think it's going to be the Oilers.
I think it's going to take 6 games, and it's going to be the Avs.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Because the Avs are overall a better team.
Calgary was overall a better team.
They were.
No, I disagree.
They were. They had Markstrom instead of Smith.
Okay, Markstrom wasn't good.
Yeah, but
if Markstrom was doing good, then yes, I would agree with you. But I don't think the Flames have the power to outscore their problems. Yes, they have good players. They don't have McDavid, Draisaitl players. They can literally outscore their problems. The Flames don't have enough to do that. And
you're talking
Markstrom
to a team who was up 6-2 in game 1. Oilers came in within 1 goal. Then the Oilers tied it, and then
They scored 3 more.
Then they scored 3 more and won the game 9-6. So you're saying that the Calgary cannot outscore their problems?
They did that one game.
Totally could.
They should
But
have
what
been able
happened
to
after
the
that
rest
game?
of it. Well, they should have been able to. Their top players just stopped playing.
Well, what happened after that game is Markstrom was not good, and the Oilers just piled on.
And
They
Smith
also-
was better.
yeah.
He wasn't like amazing, but he was good enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever.
I'll let you say Smith is good, but I'm not gonna say that.
I said good enough. Don't put words in my mouth.
You
Good
said
enough.
good. We can clip that and just
Clip it.
boom. Someone clip that.
Someone clip that. Yeah.
Send it to me.
Yeah. James is going to post it on Twitter. Well, okay. So Oilers, Avs. That's what we got. Okay. Eastern Conference. We have the Lightning and the Rangers. Now, we already know the outcome for game 1, so it would be kind of cheating to say, how this series is going to go. But are you surprised with the outcome in game 1? A 6-2 win for the Rangers.
Yes. Lightning in 5.
Yes.
So Lightning in 5. Okay. So
I think the Rangers are just high off of a game 7, and the Panthers got swept, so the Lightning been resting for a couple of games. I think the Rangers just got it off the
Yeah.
jump.
If you really
Well, and
think
it's-
about it, it shouldn't be surprising because
Yeah.
the Rangers have been still grinding, no stops, right back into the swing of things. The Lightning just had the longest pause probably that they've had all season.
The
They had
longest
over
pause
a
any
week.
team has had.
over
Well, besides
a
the
week.
Avalanche.
So they had a whole all-star break.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like they should have gone to the Bahamas or something.
We go to the Bahamas during the playoffs.
Yeah. Should have kind of been expected, but they're gonna win the next 4 games in a row, and they're gonna go to the.
I don't think they're gonna win the next 4 games in a row, but I do think they're still gonna win. They're too strong. It's scary. I really, really, really hope the Rangers win this series, but I just don't see it happening unless Shesterkin really is just gonna play as good as he played in Game 7 in the last series, in the Carolina series, and as he played good tonight as well. So, I mean, unless he plays like that through the whole series, I don't really think they stand a chance.
See, I think they do. And it's for this one reason only. And it's because Vasilevsky, as amazing as a goalie as he's been, he's been very, very off and then on, very hot and cold this playoff.
And what
And
games
he
has he
wasn't
been on
that
in?
way. He wasn't that way in the first cup run or the second cup run.
Yeah,
So
but
if they can find a way to keep him cold, I don't know how they're going to do that. Or if Vasilevsky continues to stay cold, because he obviously didn't play well tonight. So if he continues to stay cold, then
It should be pretty easy to keep him cold. They're playing on ice.
Explain to me which games Vasilevsky has been good in. Explain it, okay? He has been good in every single elimination game. They have to get to an elimination game eventually. There's no chance that he's going to stay cold the whole series.
Well,
and once he gets
like
hot,
you said,
he's just
James,
not going to
ice.
stop.
Ice.
But here's
Yes,
the other
ice,
thing.
ice.
I'm playing devil's advocate for my own thing. You could say the same thing about Shesterkin. In his first round series, he was not very good.
Yeah, but he
And
didn't
then-
play good the whole series. And I don't think he played very good the rest of the Carolina series either, but he played good in the one game, which is different than Vasilevsky playing good in like
4 or
3
5.
or 4 elimination games. It's like
Well, I
it's different
still
to me.
I still think that that is very scary if you're a Tampa fan, especially tonight's game. That surprised me big time. A 6-2 win by the Rangers. I never saw that coming, especially in game 1.
Yeah. Regardless of what's going to happen this series, one game there will be an epic goalie duel, and it will be the greatest thing ever.
A 1-0 in quadruple overtime.
I hope
would
so.
be
That would be
That would be
amazing.
electric.
That would be amazing. I would love to watch that. And how likely is that? Do y'all think that would happen?
No.
Not quadruple
No,
overtime, but like
probably not.
1-0. Do you think it would be
No.
1-0?
No.
No.
Probably not. I think it would be awesome to see, but
Really what this is, and who do y'all think has more pressure on them? Because in some ways,
either, honestly.
that's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because Tampa's like, I mean, we're going for our third cup. No big deal. We've already won 2. So if we don't win this series, it's not that big a deal because we've already won 2 in a row.
Yeah, even
And
if
then
you
you've got
lose,
the Rangers.
what are Tampa fans going to say? Wow, they're terrible.
Right,
They
exactly.
only
Win
won
another
2 in a
cup.
row.
Exactly. And then you've got the Rangers who are basically playing with house money. Like they weren't.
Yep.
Yeah, they weren't.
If you're
Ranger fans
asking
are already
me,
happy.
yeah, they're already happy because they made it this far. So I really think that they're a bigger surprise than the Oilers are, in my opinion, because the Oilers went out and made all these moves to get better. They went out and got Duncan Keith and said, "Oh, our defense is going to get better." They signed Cody Ceci, whatever. And then you've got the Rangers, who they made some moves. They went out and got Andrew Kopp from the Jets, and he's been a really good player for them. They got Vetrano from Florida, who has also been pretty good for them. And both of those guys actually, I think they both scored in tonight's game, or they were at least on the score sheet. But
A lot of people are on the score sheet.
yeah, there were a lot of people on the score sheet tonight. But anyways, I think they're the biggest surprise of the playoffs, if you truly ask me. So
And honestly, I feel like some of that comes from it's luck too. I mean, both of their opponents' main goalies were hurt. So you run into 2 teams without their starting goalies. It's not gonna be crazy surprising if you win those series. They still had to play really hard to win those series. I mean, you came back from 3-1 in the Penguin series, and then you had to beat the home behemoths Hurricanes in their own building in a game 7 to move on.
Mhm.
So it's not like they don't deserve to be here, but they have had some luck to get here.
Mhm. Agreed.
Looks kind of Dallas Starsy to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they were down 3-1 in both of their series, and talk about
weren't.
Yeah, they weren't.
That's a lie.
No.
Or was it 3-1 and then
Ryan's
they were down
lying to the
3-2?
people again, man.
It
I
was
know.
3-1 in the Penguin series and 3-2 in the other series.
Okay, so it was 3-2 in the other
News,
series.
dude.
I've been out of the loop a little bit, guys. Sorry, but still, I mean, the fact that they came back, they're 5-0 in elimination games, 4-0, something like that, 4-0, 5-0.
Well, I mean,
So-
you have to not lose an elimination game to get this far, so.
Still, that's incredible. So, I still think the Rangers are going to win this series, though. I think they will.
Nope, you're wrong. Okay, moving on.
No, Rangers
tired
in
of this
7.
subject.
Rangers in 7.
Another
crazy.
7.
There's no way.
Just keep going.
If it goes to
all
7,
the
the
way.
Lightning win.
Play the maximum number of games possible to win the Stanley Cup.
And they're going to be down 3-0. No, they can't be down 3-0. They're going to be down 3-1. And then they're going to come back and win the series again.
I wonder if that's ever happened. Has anyone played the maximum number of games you can play and won the Stanley Cup?
Surely. There's got to
I'm
be at
sure
least
there has
one
been
somehow.
somewhere.
I don't know. Those odds sound bad.
We'll look it up for next time.
Yeah. What would be even more amazing is if somebody was down 3-1, 3-2 in every single series and then won the cup or something. Like I know this will be the last thing before we go on, but I know like LA, when they won their first cup, I think it was 2012, they were down 3-1 in their first round series against the San Jose Sharks. And then I think in the second round series, they were down as well, 3-2. So I could be wrong about that, but I know I'm right about the first round series. But either way, so. Okay, one other thing, I wanted to jump down this rabbit hole because we kind of talked about coaches a little bit. There was another coach that was mentioned this week by the Dallas Stars Twitter verse, Facebook verse, whatever. And I really don't want this coach. And the coach that was mentioned that could be talked about becoming the next Dallas Stars head coach is former Vancouver Canucks coach Travis Green. So I don't know if you guys saw anything about that on Twitter or anything like that. But for those of you that don't know the background of Travis Green was the coach at the beginning of the season of the Vancouver Canucks. And they had one of the worst records in the NHL for the first I think 2.5 months of the season, something like that. And he got fired. And then the Vancouver Canucks almost made the playoffs over the Vegas Golden Knights or over the Dallas Stars. They got close. Now the odds were not in their favor or anything, but the fact that they were even, mathematically close within the last 2 or 3 games of the season is incredible. So apparently that's the next a possible coach for the Dallas Stars.
I think
absolutely hate it.
I think Twitter's just chirping on that one.
Yeah, I really hope so. If that happens, we literally here we go, got it out, go Riot. Also, I found the maximum number of games. It was actually the Kings. In 2014, they played 26 games to win the Stanley Cup, 2 off the maximum.
So no one has played 28 games and won the Cup.
Nobody has played.
That is interesting. No one's played 27 games and won the
87-88, the Oilers won the Stanley Cup only playing 18 games, 2 off the minimum. They only lost 2 games. And the average number of losses for the Stanley Cup winner, 6.3.
Wow, that's low.
Very low.
Yep.
Well, the Lightning only have 4 losses now.
James.
That's right.
I'm right. I don't want to be, but I'm right.
Yeah. So anyways, okay. So this is why I talked about Travis Green, because Tom Goulardi actually mentioned him, like in a quote. Okay. This is what he says. I think he would be a candidate. Travis has proven he deserves to be considered. I expect we will be talking to him. I really don't like
Fire
this.
the owner.
I expect them to be talking to a lot of people, hopefully.
How about Mark Savard?
I'm sure they are talking to him.
Seriously, I mean,
I mean, you can say that about almost any coach right now, and I'm sure they've probably at least said something.
Please no Travis Green. I don't want Travis Green. Okay, let's jump off of that because we could talk about that for forever. But
yeah, we talked enough about coaches this year.
Yeah. All right, we talked about playoffs. We talked a little about coaches, a little bit about Dallas Stars newsy stuff. Let's get into our Dallas Stars portion of the Dallas Stars podcast because this is interesting.
We have Dallas Stars portion?
Yeah. In a Dallas Stars podcast. Who would have thought?
Oh, did we mention this before?
RFAs and UFAs.
Did we tell you, Chris? Surprise!
Surprise!
We're talking about UFAs and RFAs.
All right. Who gets re-signed and who do we say goodbye to?
Oh, that's easy.
So there's some easy ones in these, but then there's some other ones that are a little bit harder. So let me go through the list here of the RFAs and the UFAs the Stars currently have. So right now the Stars have a projected cap hit of $64.95 million. That's estimated.
That's a lot.
So they have about $17.5 million in cap space available to them.
That's a lot.
They signed no one back.
Yeah, and this is without anybody signed right now. Okay, they have literally not signed anybody, and you still have to give extensions for the big ones. So here's the big ones: Jason Robertson.
Yes,
that's going to be monstrous. Jake Ottinger. That's going to be pretty monstrous in my opinion as well.
Well, maybe he's RFA, so
maybe
we might bridge him.
Well, I mean,
Robertson's an RFA too.
Yeah, Robertson's. This is his first big contract.
But he's already had a bridge, kind of.
And he had a 40-goal season.
And he scored 40 goals.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, let's go through the RFAs first. Here's the RFAs. We have Dennis Gurianov, Jason Robertson, Marian Studenich, which I hope he really stays, and Jake Ottinger. Those are our RFAs. And of all of those guys, I think we signed all 4 of those, but we'll get into that here in a second. Here's our UFAs. Vladislav Nomesnikov, Alexander Radulov, Michael Raffel, John Klingberg, and Andrei Sekera, and Scott Wedgwood, as well as Braden Holtby. Okay, so, I mean, there's a lot of questions here that we could be talking about here. So, first things first, let's just go through the RFAs, because I think these are a little easier than the UFAs. Okay, let's start with Robertson, because that's the easiest one. obviously, yes, we want him re-signed. We would be the dumbest people in the world. But how much is he worth? And do we get him on a bridge deal and give him like maybe 5.5, 6 million and say, go prove us more? And, maybe after 3 or 4 years, he gets an even bigger contract than he possibly could get right now. Because right now he could probably get about 7.5 or 8 million. But, 3 or 4 years down the road, if he keeps these numbers up, he could be asking for 9.5 to 10 million. So how do you think he gets signed?
I think for sure we're going to need at least another little bit of prove us a little more. I mean, he's been absolutely outstanding. That's like not even a question. But his regular season, I think his playoff last run there is overshadowing a little bit of his mid-season regular season. Because after he was the third star of the month, he was not very good after that. I mean, his stats weren't great.
Well, he was still good, but he wasn't putting up the same numbers that he was. Yes, I would agree with you there.
And he wasn't putting up the same numbers he was before that month either. And I'm sure a lot of that was fatigue. But I mean, if you're gonna drop off towards the end of the season like that every time, and you got to stay strong in that second half too. So I don't know. I think we give him a bridge deal, but I don't know. We'll see.
See, it was easy with Miro Heiskanen, because with Miro Heiskanen, if he doesn't, do anything offensively, he still has the defensive side of the game. And Robertson still has that too. He's still a very responsible defensive forward. And I mean, that's why he was to begin with, or why he stayed in the lineup, I should say, is because Bonus trusted him on the defensive side of the puck, as well as him putting up all the numbers that he was. So I really think that you're right, James. I think he's going to get like a 4-year deal at most, and I say he's probably going to get about 7.5 million, and that's just what I think. Chris, I'm curious to know your thoughts. What do you think?
Y'all are thinking about it too rationally. So y'all are thinking we have a normal cap situation. We do not. We have $19 million that is tied up in about 20 goals. Yeah. So we're going to have to work around that. And to do that, you're going to have to take some risks. So I think this is one risk that isn't even a huge risk. And that's Rfas had 2 amazing seasons. If we played a full season his rookie year, he probably gets close to 40 goals. So I'm calling that 2 straight 40-goal seasons for him. And you shouldn't have to prove yourself if you score 40 goals twice.
Well, but still playoff success.
He's only had one chance. He had one chance. And who did you really not see? Who did you really not see? $19 million. That's who you didn't see.
Okay. Right. But we're not talking about those guys. We're talking about Jason Robertson. And
so you have to take a risk because of the other guys that are there. I mean,
and that's fair. That's fair.
So,
but
we've got to save money somewhere. So you're going to save money by taking a risk on a guy who you're like, there's no doubt that we're going to build the team around him. He would have to take a massive nosedive for us not to be thinking about him as the future. Because right now we're imagining an A's and C's on his chest soon in a few years.
That's true.
So if we're already thinking about him in that way, slap 8 years on him and get it as low as you can, especially right now when you're in a flat tax. We know it's going to grow probably next year. If he will take a long-term deal, which Ardell made a good point, he might not want to because he might want to get paid more later. But if he'll take a long-term deal with a little bit less money, you take that all day long. That's definitely what we need to look for. And we need to look for 8 years under $7 million, and that would be huge for the Stars.
That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so James and I lean one way, Chris leans the other, and either way, I'm happy with either one. Honestly, I want him to stay as a Dallas Star, so I'd be happy either way. Okay, let's do easier one. Marian Studenic. Would you re-sign him?
I'll re-sign him a year, $1 million, 2-way.
2-way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. He's been a two-way player his entire career. There's no
Yeah,
reason to think that he's guaranteed himself a spot in the lineup.
yeah,
Now,
and
I mean,
also with possible more upcoming talent on our lineup
exactly.
as well. Like, I mean,
More promising talent.
what was
He's still
the
young, though.
person who came in Game 7? I forgot.
Delandria.
Yeah, Delandria. Coming in and playing well in that Game 7. I'm sure he's gonna get considerations in training camp this year.
He's still one guy though, and he played one game.
I know.
And
Okay, we
But-
don't have
but-
one guy. We have 6 guys who are chomping at the bit to be on this team.
right,
Yeah,
This
that's
training
right.
camp is going to be huge, and we don't need to be filling it with spots like Student Each, and I'll
Yeah.
get into it. We don't need to be filling it with Raffle. We don't need to be filling it with Sekera. We need to leave these spots open and tell these guys to go to war and fight for the spots.
Yes, and that's part of that's part of my problem with re-signing Student Each. I mean, he's not a bad player, but we have enough not bad players.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Good
That
point.
is the Dallas Stars motto. The entirety of our existence is let's be not bad. We're tired
Let's
of not
be
bad
not
here on
bad.
Starcastic Remarks. Not bad
bad.
sucks. We hate not bad. That's trash.
Not
We're
bad
going
is
for great.
Not bad. Okay.
We're-
All right. I think he's gone too. Honestly, I wish he wasn't because I can see some potential in him, but y'all are both right. And the fact that we've got too many guys that need to fill those spots, and we need those guys in those spots. So I think as much as I loved him and the fact that he played super hard and everything, he didn't really put up the points. So, I mean, we've got other guys that can do it. So I would not re-sign him. Let's do the easier of the remaining 2 of the RFAs. So Jay Gottinger, obviously the question is he stays. Duh. How much does he get and for how long?
I'm thinking same thing as Robo. I mean, we've said he's the future for the past, 4 years? He's now here. Forced himself into the lineup, by the way, while
did.
we tried
Yeah.
to screw him over and submarine him back to the AHL, and then has the best performance of anybody in the playoffs. And I'm going to say anybody even still playing now.
No, I agreed.
So-
I think
agreed,
that's totally fair still.
So-
I don't think anyone would completely disagree with you either. So
Yeah. So he's 100% our starting goalie in the future. So you give him a similar deal to Robo. You give him as much term as he'll take for as little money as possible.
James.
yeah, I'm with Chris. Same thing.
So you go opposite when it comes to Robertson and Ottinger then.
This one's a little more clear cut. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Otter has been trying to claw into the lineup for the past 3 or 4 years almost, and he's still crazy young. And so
I wouldn't say 3 or
Just-
4 years, but definitely 2.
at least 3.
Maybe
It's
3.
been at least 3 years that he's been fighting to try to get NHL time. And this year he finally gets it because of injuries to our goaltenders. I mean, all 3 out of the 4 goaltenders we had at the start of the year all got hurt and all had surgery and all were out for the rest of the season. So
I don't think it's any doubt that everybody knows his name now in the NHL. I mean, there's no doubt that everybody in the NHL knows his name.
if he can play
So-
like that all the time, he is going to be the scariest goaltender ever.
Agreed. 100%. 100% there. Okay. Here's the icing on the cake when it comes to RFAs. And actually, I forgot who it was, if it was Sod or if it was Defending Big D. One of those 2
Yeah.
places had a really good piece, a really good article on Denis Gurianov. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you go and read it because it's a fantastic read. Denis Gurianov, I mean,
Man.
it's been several years now since he scored 20 goals and he led the Stars in scoring.
and it's been downhill since then.
And he only had 20 goals. So it's not like he had 28, 29,
40.
40, what you like Robertson. Okay. So I guess we really have to ask this. I think the Stars will qualify him. I think they will qualify him. But does he stay in Dallas? Is he a Dallas Star next season?
I think they qualify him and that's it. Anything more, any kind of offer sheet, gone instantly.
What about a trade? I see that more likely happening than an offer sheet. He's not going to get offer sheeted by anybody because he has not shown that he can score at a consistent rate. And plus,
I think he'll get an offer sheet if we let him.
Defensively, he's been really bad. So, and I think, I think it was if they qualify him, they have to qualify him at 2.8 or 2.9 million. So that's a lot. I mean, to put that in perspective, Roope Hintz makes 3.15.
Yeah.
So he would be almost making as much as Roope Hintz, which is why this particular one is so hard. It is so hard to say yes or no.
And it's so hard because he still shows all the tools of being an elite goal scorer. And he just can't put it together for whatever reason.
And really, it's been since we got Bonus too. I mean, since we got Bonus, he's looked about the same. And maybe a different coach sparks him and he does better.
But is that maybe worth $3 million on the cap?
And that's
for
a
1-year deal to give him one more chance. I would say yes. But if he's looking for like 2 or 3 or 4 years, no, man. Sorry, this is your last chance. This is your last prove it contract. You're getting an offensively minded coach, which they've already said they're going after. This is your last chance. I think they do qualify him. I think he does take the qualifying offer, and it will be for 1 year. He's not going to get 2.
Even then, which I kind of agree with. I don't fully agree with it yet. I still need some convincing. But even then, he's going to be the last big guy that we sign. So if the numbers don't work out, the first one gone is Gurianov at 3. So
agreed, 100%. I don't remember what date they have to be qualified by. Do y'all know when that date would be? Does that have to be before July 1st?
That's not on my radar right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe Ardell can help us with that. Ardell, help us out, man. I'm not sure what the date was. James is looking it up too. So, okay. So those are the 4 RFAs. Okay. So especially Denis Gurianov, that's a really hard discussion.
That's probably going to be the toughest one we talk about.
Yeah. And I don't want to give him $3 million, but I also don't want him to turn around and turn into a good second line winger like Valeri Nichushkin is right now for the Avalanche. So, and he's not going to be.
Also, to be fair, like Nichushkin did take a little bit over in Colorado too. It wasn't like he went to Colorado and boom, he was amazing.
Yeah,
and he is playing with a lot.
And we all know he needed a change of scenery anyway. We all knew that situation.
He was in such a rough spot, and it really feels like Gurianov is almost in that exact same place.
All right, we're running late, boys. We got to go to UFAs and start going faster.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. UFAs here. We have Radulov. Easy one.
He's already gone.
He's already signed to another team.
So the rumor is that he's already signed in the KHL for $2.5 million, I believe.
It's
confirmed.
It's not a rumor. It's confirmed.
Okay, so
the team over in the KHL has released a video. It's confirmed.
Oh, okay. All right, so he's on his way back to Russia. What about Michael Raffl? Christian, you said you don't want him not in the fact that he was a bad player for the Stars, but because of I'm assuming because of his age and because there's other players that need to take those spots. So what would you say?
Well, like we mentioned with Student Each, there's other guys who can fill that spot who I think can do at least a good job and have a potential to do better. And I think it's worth it to give them the ice time.
Yeah. That's
James,
fair.
what do you think?
It's tough because he really was a crazy good player at the end of the season this year. I mean, it felt like he was the only one doing anything other than the first line because he kind of was, but I don't know. It's so tough to sign a dude like that for $2-3 million when
he only took $1 million. He only took $1 million.
Yeah, but I don't think he's only going to ask for $1 million again. Honestly.
I think he would ask for $1 million again.
I think maybe $1.5 million, but he's not going to ask for 2 or 3. I mean, you got to look at the other guys who are making $2 or $3 million. I mean,
Radek Faksa.
So
it's like the worst age contract. Besides the Ben
Yeah,
and
what are you
Sagan
talking about, James?
I said besides the Ben and Sagan ones. Okay.
Yeah. I still think he gets re-signed though, and that's just me. No more than 1.5 million. Although I would really hope he stays at 1 million, and I think there's a chance he does. But again, it's another 1-year contract. I don't want to give him multiple years.
Agree. It has to be 1 year. I wouldn't hate it, but I don't prefer it.
Then the only reason why I would want to keep him is because if those young guys do falter, it would be nice to have somebody just in case. So maybe he comes in as the 13th or 14th.
If one of the young guys
That's just
falters, we've got another young guy. That's why you don't need him.
Well, the problem is like he's going to be playing right off the bat. He's not going to be one of the guys fighting for a spot on the lineup.
If you're paying him $1.5 million, yeah.
Not necessarily. I
Moving
disagree,
on.
but moving on. Vladislav Nomesnikov. I really hope we keep him. I think he's a really good middle six player, and he can put in some goals here and there. And I think he's the kind of guy that you really want to keep around, especially
I thought
if
we
you're
were
going
done
for a
with being
championship.
not bad, Ryan. I thought we were done.
I'm with
I
James.
thought we had convinced you.
Nemesnikov is not bad.
He's not
That's
bad.
correct.
It's not bad.
He's not bad. He's
Michael
not.
Raffle.
He's not bad.
Michael
Raffle.
Raffle is not bad either.
He's not
He's
bad.
a fourth liner. Okay.
No, he's not bad. He's not
Neither
bad.
of them are not
He
bad.
stays.
He's not bad.
I want him to stay.
They're not bad.
Nemesnikov's gone. Get him out of here.
No, he's not. He will be re-signed.
How much?
I actually would rather see Nemesnikov than Raffle, honestly.
Agreed.
Oh,
How much?
100%. 100%. What was his last contract?
I don't
4
know.
million?
We didn't have it.
Not a chance. Not a chance. You're
was it
gonna
4
you're gonna pay him more than Roddick Foxa?
I'll pay
No
him
way.
$2 million to be a middle six.
Chris, you're gonna pay him more than Roddick Foxa? I'll give him 3 or 3.5. But
That's
not
what I'm saying.
4.
There's no way he's taking that.
I think he would. I think
Moving
there's a
on.
chance.
On to the
I
next.
really
Probably
do. I
not.
really do.
Whatever.
I think he does get re-signed though. That's just me. Okay.
Whatever.
Ryan just wants to keep
Another
everybody.
softball easy one. Andre Sekera.
Gonzo.
Gone.
He's not bad.
That
bad.
that's the easiest one.
He's not bad, guys.
Okay.
He's
And
not
then
bad.
and then obviously to the hard one of the UFAs. Mr. John Klingberg.
Okay. Off the bat, if Klingberg wants to stay and he wants the 8-year contract, which he's absolutely said he is, it's $5 million. Honestly. I mean, he's getting paid a small amount because he was useless with defensive liability. Oh, he definitely has the upside. He could totally come back and be amazing. But he's gonna have a great contract for us if he does. Because it's not worth taking the risk. Please learn your lesson from Ben and Sagan. This one is even warning you about it the year before. No. If he wants that much for that long, $5 million. Take it or leave it. You're getting paid less than that.
Yeah.
Would you give him 8 years?
Yeah, I'll give him 8 years if he takes less than if he takes 5 or less.
Okay. Okay. So that might be something he might be willing to negotiate on. And maybe he cares more about the term than he does the money. But I mean, this
I
is
don't
his
think
chance
that's the case,
to.
though.
I agree with you,
it.
James. But this is his last chance to really bank. And I mean, you only play for so long in the NHL. So, and he totally deserves to go out and get what he wants.
Yeah,
go ahead, James.
It's so rough too because I mean I think he still ended up with the most points for defensemen, but his plus minus was still the worst. Which like I know you hate plus minus again, but if you get the most points on the of all the defensemen and then you still have the worst plus minus, that should probably tell you something. I mean, he's not playing good defensively.
I'm glad I give you fear on plus minus, James. That makes me happy.
well, see, James, here's the thing. You don't even have to use plus minus. You just have to watch him on the ice. It's a total eye test.
Turnover after turnover. But I mean, like
turnover. It's bad. It's terrible.
And we're also already stuck with a Ryan Suter 3.6 mil for another 3 years.
Ryan Suter, for the most part, I wouldn't say he was like amazing, but he was solid throughout the season. Overall, he was solid.
He's a Joel Hanley that we pay $3.6 million.
He was.
James is speaking facts
At the
tonight.
end of the season, they were
No.
playing the
Good.
same.
No.
I don't think that's too much to say.
He
At
was.
the end
He
of the
was
season, Joel
way better
Hanley
than
was
Joel
playing
Hanley.
the same.
No.
James is on fire today. I swear.
No. Way
Chris
better
likes
than
me
Joel
today.
Hanley.
Hey,
So-
if Chris likes me, I have to be doing something right,
In
right?
fuego.
Okay, so are you gonna give Joel Hanley like $2.5 million, $3 million then?
No, that's
No,
what I'm
that's the
saying.
point. That's the point, Ryan.
That's
You
the
missed the point.
point.
I disagree, but apparently nobody likes my opinions, anyways.
No, we hate your
Nope.
opinions, Ryan.
Sorry.
Okay,
bad
so all right, James, you didn't answer the question though about John Klingberg. If you resign him, how much do you give him, and for how long?
Answer the question, bub.
Yeah, backing you into a corner.
I'm kind of with you, Ryan, on the if he wants the long-term contract, yeah, it's kind of stuck at $5 million. I mean, he hasn't proven that he's going to be better than that. I mean, that's about it. That's all you can say. The one thing I will say is that we desperately need those right-handed defensemen. I do not want to see Miro Heiskanen playing on the right side again. I want him on his dominant side.
Agreed.
So, and that's one thing that I wanted to just mention off the bat. I mean, Heiskanen played on his dominant side in those World Championships, and he had a 3-point night.
Tore it up.
Yeah,
Tore it
I mean, he was doing amazing. I want to see him on his strong side again. So more right-handed defensemen. If that's not John Klingberg, go find another one.
See, I'm surprised at both of you that y'all are willing to give him a long-term contract, like 8 years. We're talking about till he's
still
37. Till
We're
he's
paying
37.
Studer almost that much, and we're paying him till he's 40.
Okay,
Yeah.
but this is.
And John Klingberg is
You
still.
can sign some of those contracts because of free agents, okay? And sometimes you have to sign those contracts with free agents to get them to come to your team, to get them a little bit more money, to get them a little bit more enticed to come here because you really need them. Okay, John Kleinberg is still under. We still have the rights to him, and you can have some bad contracts and sign some of those bad contracts, but you cannot sign a bad contract like this. I think term is very important in this discussion.
My point is this is the worst. My point is this is the worst season he's had his entire career. Like, I feel like this is the bottom of the barrel. And he's still a top 4 defenseman for us, and he was all season. There was never a thought of putting him in the bottom pair. So
I just don't
that's
think
worth $5 million.
No, that's not what I'm worried about. I mean, I still think $5 million is actually way too less, in my opinion.
Too less.
But the term is what bothers me. At most, I would give him 6 years. I would try to push him to 5 years, though. That's just me. And if he wants 6 years, I'd give him maybe 6.5, maybe 6.25. But if he goes for 5 years or less, I'll give him, maybe 7. But that's just my opinion. I think that he's worth more money-wise, but I don't want to give him term like y'all are saying.
No.
And I understand y'all's point. I understand y'all's point completely. I just don't agree that you want to give him 8 years at this point.
Who's next, Ryan?
Easy one. Actually, maybe not. Scott Wedgwood and Braden Holtby.
Scott Wedgwood wants to play for less than 2. We'll take him.
Yeah,
if not, see ya.
That's kind of what I'm at too. I mean, he can be a great goaltender when he absolutely has to be. And if we can keep him with a compliment to Otter for that, I'm totally fine with that. And honestly, I don't know how Braden Holtby's going to do next season. I think he's
big injured.
Yeah, I mean, he's injured for sure. I mean, they were saying that he was looking close to coming back when we finally lost that series over in Calgary, but like he probably wasn't coming back at that point anyway, just because of how good Otter was playing. So,
well, nobody except for Otter was going to play.
You,
we all knew that going into the series. It was Otter's net, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing too. I'm sure he doesn't want to play as the backup. Like, he's going to be the backup. It's not going to be a question. And if it's a question, then we will riot. Taking Chris's.
Right.
Saying riot.
I want Scott Wedgwood back. I don't want Holtby back. As good as Holtby was, he's just too injury prone. and he was hurt for a good portion of the season. So that's just my opinion. And Wedgwood, in the few games that he played for the Stars, he was very solid, and in some cases he was mastodonic. So but we also need to think about the fact that Anton Hudovan is still under contract for next season at two and a quarter.
And he was obviously hurt as well, and he got surgery as well mid-season. He'll probably be fine by the time we come back. He might be a good backup again. Who knows?
Right. And now, at the beginning of the season, he was the quote-unquote starter, right? He was the starter. Now he can come back and be solidified in a role that he's been really good in over the course of his career. That's when he's been his best, is when he's a backup. So maybe you don't re-sign either one of those guys just because of the fact that their contracts are up and Hudobin's is not. The only problem with Hudovan is that he had a very serious injury. He had a very serious surgery, and he's also 36 years of age.
And that's what we're all scared of right now, because we just had 3 goaltenders who all had very serious injuries and all had to have very serious surgery. And now we have no idea what they're going to look like after it. So,
right.
Well, we know one's done, but
so that's why I really think that we really need to sign Wedgwood. And I think we keep Wedgwood, we keep Hudobin. And honestly, out of those 2 guys, Hudobin's the better goaltender, in my opinion. And I think with the surgery, with him going to rehab, I think he will be able to come back and play better because he won't have that pressure of being the number 1 starter. And I think it'll be good for him. So that's just my opinion. So
let's go to our last segment.
Yep. I'm not introducing it because this is the dumbest thing in the world.
All right.
Chris, this was your idea, so you go ahead and do it.
We're on to Who Cares. We're doing top 3s. The topic today is hand soap brands. And you know what? I'll open it up to types as well. You can select the type of hand soap if you have specification there.
A type? Like a scent?
No.
Take that word how you would like it to mean.
Okay, whatever.
James, you start us off. Number 3 hand soap. Go ahead.
Myers hand soap. Do y'all even know what that is?
I know what Myers is.
Myers hand soap. Just
Ellie
the normal,
frequents the Myers.
It's pretty good, okay? It's pretty normal. It's some nice hand soap. That's about all I got to say about it.
They have a whole line of cleaning products as well.
They do.
They classify themselves as all natural. Do you think the all naturalness helps influence your decision towards the Myers?
I don't know. Probably.
All right. Gotcha. All right. Moving along. Ryan, go ahead.
Ryan, number 3.
Number 3, soft soap, specifically the Fresh Breeze version.
I'm going soft soap too on my number 3, but I'm going to get a different specification. We're doing the what is it? The aquarium one. You know the one I'm talking about. The one with the fishies. It's all clear. Y'all all know the hand soap I'm talking about. That one slaps. That was in your childhood bathroom, and I know it was.
Are you just looking at pictures on Google?
I'm literally not. I will take a picture right now. I swear. James, hit us with the number 2.
My number 2 is soft soap Fresh Freeze. So, soft soap number 2 for me.
Is that the blue one?
Yeah, it's the light blue one.
It's the light blue one. Yeah.
You know what? The one that everyone buys. Shock. It's in our top 3s.
That's like the young adult soft soap. It's the Fresh Breeze.
Yep.
All right, Ryan, number 2.
My number 2 is Dial. And no specific. I've never seen Chris that excited before. My number 2 is Dial. And I don't have.
Oh my goodness, y'all are the same.
We're the same hands, bro.
Oh, are we gonna have a Who Cares Who Cares segment where y'all aren't arguing?
No, right?
I guess. My specific Dial, we're going with the deep blue Dial, and the tall, skinny little container. That one's solid, because so most hand soaps you get way too much soap. Honestly, way too much soap. The tall, skinny Dial, the dark blue, just the right amount. Immaculate. Love it. James, go ahead.
My number 1 is Bath and Body Works foaming hand soap. I love that soap so much. It's so good. All of their smells are so great. It's so nice.
They are not.
It's expensive though.
Rather expensive. That's
It's
the
expensive,
negative.
but it's nice.
That's what
It's the
kept them
nicest
off my
one.
list. It is nice. I will give you that. It is nice. All right, Ryan.
My number one. I almost said number 2. I'm getting tired, you guys. It's been a long day.
It's your fault. You kept
it's-
talking.
That's true. Sorry, I had a lot to say tonight. That's James. I hate you so much. But my number 1 is the Bath and Body Works foaming soap, but specifically when it's Christmas time, they have the peppermint. I love the peppermint smell.
Went seasonal on us. Goodness.
Yes, I did go
allowed that.
seasonal, but and then honorable mention to the pumpkin spice latte from Bath and Body Works as well.
Terrible.
That would be my number 4.
I'm glad we've all selected foaming hand soaps for the number 1.
Oh.
First of all, they are superior.
Wow.
We aren't going to argue.
They feel softer. If you use foaming hand soap, they cost like $1 more at the store than the normal hand soap of the same variety, but they last so much longer. I swear, this is science. I've tested it. This is tested science. Buy a foaming hand soap, save money,
scientific
have a
method.
better life, wash your hands better. My brand of foaming hand soap, I'm pretty sure it's an HEB brand, but I have no idea. It's called Jello, but it's not spelled like
food.
Jello.
That's a
spell
food,
it?
Chris.
Gello, Jello.
Isn't that how you spell Jello, the Jello brand?
No,
you
Jello is that.
What? That's even
crazy?
worse than your Fox is the worst contract statement. Jello has great. They have. I don't know what flavor of hand soap this is. Yes,
No.
it's a flavor.
Jello is the brand of Jello. Gello.
That is a different thing.
No, it's Jello brand.
No.
It's a brand.
I don't think it's HEB.
Look
I
up
think
Jello
it's just
hand
its own. No, that's what I'm doing right now. It's
Yeah.
like its own thing right now. I don't
It
think
might be its own thing. Either way, I can only find it at HEB. The white kind, the foaming one, I've had mine in that bathroom right over there. It's been going strong. It's like, that miracle when Jesus just made that oil just keep coming from that lamp just nonstop? It's that one. That's the one.
Okay, Chris.
And that's my hand soap in that bathroom over there.
All right.
Nonstop.
Oh,
I swear.
goodness.
It's been empty for 4 weeks. Every time I push it, more soap.
It just keeps coming out.
Keep coming out. Super soft.
Oh man.
Super fluffy. It's fragrant, but not overly fragrant, It is not girl perfume fragrant. It's just like, man, I just put my hands into a nice new car and just rubbed them all over the seats, and it just smells like that. It's great.
So your soap smells like new car smell.
No, not exactly. It's a similar experience, Ryan. Please don't try and boil down my entire talking point there to new car smell. That is actually insulting. It's insulting to this entire Who Cares segment. And
Thank
I
you for the
resent
argument,
you
Chris.
for the way that you tried to patronize my opinions. So thanks for ruining the entire podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Thank
Signing
you.
off for now. He's Ryan. He's James. Go to THPN, buy the merch, catch you on the flip side, close it.
You win, Chris. You win.